Hey guys, my name is Brandon and welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see in here, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button so you stay notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get straight on with today's video. Hey everyone and welcome back to Is That More Brandon. So in today's video I'm going to be doing a review for episode 9 of Squid Game. We are literally within touching distance of not just a winner but also the end of these reviews because there's only 10 episodes and we have 1 episode left, 3 contestants left. So I'm just going to explain to you how we went from 12 people to 3. So at the beginning of episode 9, obviously what we kind of found out was from the marbles game who had eliminated themselves from the game, who had been voted out, and who obviously made it through to the top 9 or top 12. I think it was top 9. Yeah, we lost 3 in the marbles game, so it was top 9. And player 278, Ashley, said that Mai is not able to just hide behind her facade because obviously she's come across as this like lovely lady, you know, but she's played a game because I think what happened was in the marbles game, they all decided that they were going to nominate themselves, and obviously if they got a number 6, they'd self-eliminate, and if they didn't get a number 6, then they'd obviously save themselves. But Mai basically decided to just go for Ashley, probably because of what happened in the glass game, the previous game, where she didn't take a step forward and kind of self-sabotaged the game for Trey. So yeah, she basically, that's why she nominated Ashley, and that's why people kind of are a little bit against mine now. And player 418 said that although she's not part of the group, she is still awesome. And then we found out, there was 9 people left, prize pot $4,470,000. Player 278 also said that Mai tried to take her out, it obviously didn't work, so I think payback's potentially going to happen at some point. And players 451, 016, 018 and 355 kind of, I wouldn't say formed an alliance, but they started talking to each other. So I think it was a mix of some of the people from London and then a couple of others. And player 355, Hallie, basically said there seems to be a little group of them. And player 287 to nominate someone else for nomination. She's definitely going to keep her eyes on Mai. Player 278 said to player 278 said to player 019 that she seems to be playing the little lady role, as if she nominated her and as if she's done something wrong, when actually she was just kind of the victim of being chosen. And Mai, to the camera, said that she is an adjudicator. She checks visas for international students who come over to America, and obviously she wants to do her best to get as many people over as possible because she was a refugee herself, so she knows how difficult the process obviously is. And player 16 said to player 451 that Mai needs to do something, and she needed to do something in that game, and obviously it's going to affect her game and not the rest of theirs. So yes, I know there's a team of 9 people left, but at the end of the day they're not really a team, they're kind of just doing what they need to do to get through to the rest of the game. And player 429 said that he didn't understand Mai's decision to go for Ashley, and he was obviously speaking to Amanda. Player 287 said that she can't trust anyone in the dormitory, so she obviously got really, really upset because, you know, she lost Chad from the game and potentially kind of lost a friend in Ashley. She wasn't really friends with her anyway, but she basically started tearing up in front of the camera, basically saying that you just can't trust anyone. So I don't know if that is genuine tears or if she was genuinely upset, or whether she kind of just, she knew she did wrong and she was kind of just trying to cover it up by just being like, oh no, I'm the victim, it's me that's the one that should be cared about. But either way, she's done very well to get this far so far. And then we found out that the next game was Circle of Trust. So player 287 decided to start braiding player 418's hair. So 418 is Roland, he's got the longish kind of hair, not as long as player 451 Phil. Player 451 said to player 16 that they seem to obviously be a pair, and 278 is with them. The best outcome that could have happened is obviously that the 3 of them stay, and they were basically built to work together. So, you know, they've got a little group. They've kind of got like 3 or 4 different alliances with different variations of people, but you kind of know who is in a group and you kind of know who isn't in a group. Player 278 said, player 287 said to player 16 she's going to set the record straight with him, so she doesn't get seen as a threat. And obviously player 16 is Sam, and he's obviously quite close with Ashley, player 278, so Mai basically doesn't want to get in between friendships or alliances, and she basically just wants to set the record straight. So she basically said that she shouldn't be seen as a threat, and player 16 basically said that they agreed their game of strategy, which was a self-decency thing, and what she did could have actually evolved into chaos. She then said the only reason she voted for Ashley was because she wasn't a team player on the bridge game. She's obviously been in the military for however many years, so she knows the whole form of camaraderie, what's the word? Camaraderie or teamwork and that sort of thing. And yeah, Ashley just didn't do that in that game. And then player 16, Sam, basically said he played the game fairly, and he has played the game fairly so far, so the two of them can keep an eye on her, but don't do anything that's kind of out of the ordinary, that's going to kind of put any form of target on you, which is kind of what she did in that game. And he basically said that player 287 was making decisions that were quite messy, and she basically asked him whether 278 Ashley was actually open to have a chat with her based on whatever has just happened. Hallie 355 spoke to Roland 418, and they were basically discussing whether he had any chat up lines for girls, and he said his chat up line would kind of just be not actually going over to talk to the girls. I think she basically said, what would you do? And he said, well, what would I not do? I kind of wouldn't go up to the girl. And player 355 Hallie basically explained to the camera that she had a good childhood, but she always felt like she had to prove herself, and obviously against her twin sister there were people that were kind of upping them against each other, and she said they were very opposite in personalities, but they're basically like each other's best friend. And 287, so Mai, took 278 and said, let's go for a talk. And she basically explained, I love you as a person, but when I saw you at Glassbridge, you didn't jump. And Ashley basically came back and said, well, I did jump. And I think at this point, Mai was kind of like, I just don't want to argue. I'm just going to kind of keep the conversation relaxed. And Ashley said, I'm not sure what you saw or didn't see, but I did jump. And Mai basically said that she apologised for not speaking to Ashley first. So I think what kind of happened here is Mai thought Ashley didn't jump. Ashley did jump, but she did wait 2 turns for someone to get eliminated first for then her to jump. So of course she jumped, but she was a gameplay back. So she should have gone when the last person got to the front. She shouldn't just have waited for someone to have gone twice, and that's exactly what happened. So yeah, I think she's trying to, they're basically both trying to play a game against each other. One of them saying, oh, I did jump. One of them's going, no, but you didn't jump. Yes, she did jump, but yes, she was delayed in the jump. So they're both technically right. And then player 278 Ashley said that Mai could have come to speak to her first rather than try and talk to everyone else, or, you know, start talking to different friendship groups. She could have just gone to her first and said, look, I'm really sorry for what happened. This is why I voted for you. This is my reasoning, and that's it. And then she basically said to her, well, as a joke, kind of, stop being so awkward in here, you know, like, come and talk to the rest of us. There's 9 of us left in the game. And then we found out that in the next game, 6 players were going to be eliminated. So we only have 9 people left, and we found out 6 people were going to be getting rid of in this game. All that happened is the 9 people walked into a room, there was 9 chairs, and there was a little present on the table in front of them. And if they were to get tapped on the shoulder, they would be the person to decide who to pick up the present, who was going to pick up the present, and whoever's table they put the present on, they basically said, I want that person to be eliminated from the game. The person with the present on their table then had to guess who they thought put the present on their table. If they guessed it correctly, then they actually got to stay in the game. If they got it incorrect, then they would basically have eliminated themselves from the game. So it was a very complicated thing. You want to be tapped on the shoulder, but then when you put the present on someone's table, you need to look as innocent as possible. Or if someone puts the present on your table, you need to work out who looks suspicious, get them, make them get eliminated, and then obviously you keep yourself in the game. So that was kind of the 2 mindsets. If you have the present on your table, work out quickly who chose you. If you don't have it on your table and you have to put it on someone's table, don't look guilty when they open their blindfold. So yeah, player 429 said that the game was very messed up. Player 287 said it was more of a circle of distrust rather than trust. And up first, it was actually Mai. So 287 was the first person to be chosen once they all had their blindfolds on, and she decided to put her present on player 418's table. So again, player 418, this is Roland, the guy with the long hair. So he was kind of walking around, kind of asking them all, was it you, was it you, was it you? And player 451 said it wasn't him. Player 278 said, well, who's going to braid your hair? So this is Mai kind of being deceptive, being like, well, you know, in her head, she knows it was her, but she's going to make out, well, hang on, who's going to braid your hair when you eliminate me? Player 51 was kind of just like, what? She didn't even know what was going on. And player 429 said that he was his son. 278 said she was going to have chosen Mai, so if she would have had the first present, she would have chosen Mai. And player 418 was like, well, at least you're forward, at least you're honest about it. And he kind of looked at player 51, Rose, and she basically said to him, don't risk it. and he said, what, don't risk picking you? And she kind of just said, yeah. He said that he loves Mai. Obviously she said, I love you. He said, I love you too, unless she placed the present on his table. Roland thought it was player 51, which obviously of course it wasn't, so he basically eliminated himself from the game, and the room just went quiet. At this point they didn't reveal who had put the present on. It was just kind of a very awkward silence for them to just kind of work out amongst themselves who voted for who. Up next it was Hallie, so player 355 was next. She decided to go for Amanda, player 19. She said, I know she won't suspect me, just purely because the two of them have been in some little weird alliance with some of the boys. And it was a very weird move because obviously you're trying to keep the girls in the game, but they're kind of putting girls against each other. Player 19, when she took her blindfold off, said 287's jacket was actually tucked in before, so she kind of realised a more visual difference with Mai, and she said even though someone voted for her, it's nice to see that someone sees her as a threat. She thought it was player 451 Phil. In fact it wasn't. Again, it wasn't revealed who it was, but obviously we know it was Hallie, player 355. So again, Amanda, 019, was eliminated from the game. So that's 2 people gone so far, 4 more to go, and then we have our final 3. So up next was player 429, Elliot. So up until this point, I didn't even know his name was Elliot, so Elliot was up next. He chose player 287, so that was obviously Mai, and he basically said he hopes that he thinks that Mai had been chosen by Ashley. So he hoped, based on what she'd previously said, that she would put the present on Mai's table. She was hoping that she wouldn't guess him. Player 287, Mai, said that she analyses people, reads people's faces, can kind of tell by body language and body movement kind of what people are feeling, whether they're fidgety or whatever. And she basically said that even though player 278 is a strong character and they both have their very much differences, she doesn't think it's him. She doesn't think it's her that put the present on the table. And she basically said she either thinks it's Sam, player 16, or Elliot, player 429. She guessed player 429, and she was actually the first person to correctly guess, so he basically got eliminated from the game. And she basically said, the reason I voted for you was because you were looking around with a guilty look. So player 429, Elliot, also eliminated from the game. Rose, player 51, she was chosen next, and she chose Phil, player 451. She said although they are friendly, she hasn't really got close to him. And player 16 said it was awful to see the box on Phil's desk, with Phil going to Rose that he never got to know her too well, saying to player 278 that she's a good person. Phil quickly guessed that it was Rose, and again, because he correctly guessed it, he was able to stay in the game, and it was obviously Rose eliminated. And then we had 2 more people that needed to be eliminated, because that's 4 gone so far, and there was still 5 people left. So up next it was Ashley, so player 278, she was up next, and she also decided to choose Phil. Again, they were all blindfolded, so no one knew other than her who had picked him, and she basically said to the camera that he's not going to guess that she voted for him. Phil basically said, here we go again. Player 16 said that he basically said to player 16 that he wants to hang out with him outside, but would he now have gone against him? He said to player 355 that now she doesn't have the best hair because obviously he's got the best hair in the game. And he said to player 278 Ashley, has she been a friend now turned foe and kind of gone against him, wanting to get him out of the game? He basically guessed that it was Ashley, player 278, and then she got eliminated from the game. So again, very, very close to the final 5, very, very close to the final 3 even. She actually came 5th, but Ashley was eliminated from the game. And Phil basically said, please don't do that to me again. And there obviously was only 4 people left. So, he said that player 16 is a superstar. No, he didn't. Player 16 said that Phil was a superstar at the game. And then we found out that the 4 final players, so we had Sam, player 16, we had Mai, player 287, we had Hallie, player 355, and we had Phil with 2 L's, 451. For the last shoulder touch, we didn't actually see who was picked on the shoulder, and we only saw whose table the present had landed on, but we didn't actually see the person until obviously the game was over. So yeah, player 16, basically we found out that it was player 355 that had the present on her table, Hallie, and player 16 said that it would be she said that it would be risky for player 16 to choose someone next to him. Player 451 has been told that he has an innocent face, and she said to my player 287 that the boys are not going to pick each other, so putting it on her desk is obviously a bit less suspicious. She basically said that she distrusted Mai. Player 16 was shaking and she can't seem to read Phil, player 451. And he actually was the calmest out of all three of them. She thought that it was Mai who chose her, but in fact it wasn't. So player 355 was eliminated, it wasn't Mai, and player 16 straight away obviously knew it wasn't him, and the only other person in the game was Phil. So he basically looked at Phil and said, why? Kind of like, why did you get her out of the game? So yeah, he basically said it was the hardest decision of his life. He wasn't going to pick Sam, and it was basically 50-50 between the two girls, and he just, with his heart, decided he's going to get rid of Hallie and keep Mai in the game. So 3 people left. Player 16, Sam, who, I'll be honest, didn't really know much about him throughout the entire game. I think there was little glimpses of him every now and then. Obviously Mai, she's kind of been one of the main characters. She's kind of had lots of different groups, or she's kind of been very involved. I think, again, one of the older ones, she is going to have that bit of life experience and a few extra, you know, bits of skill that a lot of the younger ones didn't seem to have. And then player 451, Phil, again, very young, very mature. Don't really know much about him, but again, I kind of saw him poking up quite a few times. Didn't think he'd make it to the final 3, but he's done very well to do that so far. Player 287 basically explained that her heart has stopped for 6 rounds, and player 16, Sam, said to player 451, Phil, well, player 418, Roland, was knocked out quite early, like who would have voted for him to go out, and they basically asked Mai if it was her. For a second she was a little bit like, because she kind of was like, well, hang on, I can't say it was me because then they're going to automatically go against me. So she basically had to say, no, it wasn't him, I'm trying to work out who did I vote for. But then I think if you're literally in a game of 9, it should be very obvious and very easy for you to go, yes, this is exactly who I voted for. Whether you're lying or telling the truth, it's very easy to come up with a name. So she basically said in the end that she voted for Amanda, which obviously wasn't. It was actually player 355 that voted for Amanda. So luckily 3 wasn't there, otherwise she would have gone, ha, actually I voted for Amanda. So maybe it was a good thing that Hallie went and Mai stayed. And then, yeah, she basically said she voted Amanda out. The prize pot was obviously 4,530,000, and in the final, obviously, we had those 3 contestants. Player 278 said it was all about self-preservation, doing whatever she can to get through and also win the game. Player 16, Sam, pretty much said the same thing, and player 451 said that, I guess, some things had to happen in order for them to get to where they were, but money changes people sometimes. So although they are all there for different reasons, especially when you see a massive cash prize like 4 million euros or dollars or whatever it is, you're going to be a lot different to how you are in the normal world if you see like a tenner on the floor, for example. So that's where we are in terms of episode 9. We have 3 people left. Player 16, Sam, player 287, Mai, player 451, Phil. I don't want to put bets on anyone, but I think just from what I've seen from all of them so far, I don't think Sam's going to do very well. I feel like he's a very independent, on his own kind of person. Knowing that, he's going to probably end up winning, but I think Sam's going to come 3rd. And then I think with the other 2, Mai and Phil, I think they're both very good. She's obviously got a lot of life experience. I think he comes across as if he's not smart, but I think, you know, behind that long lock of hair, he's got quite a lot of brain cells. I think he might actually pull through and beat Mai. I think it's one of those things, it's too obvious if she wins because she's the smartest, she's the oldest, she's got the most experience, she's had the most TV time. So I think Sam will come 3rd, I think Mai will come 2nd, and I think Phil will come 1st. But we don't know, I don't know, I haven't seen episode 10 yet, I don't even know what's going on in episode 10, let alone what even happened in episode bloody 1, that was years ago. But yeah, I'm going to end this video review here. If you did enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. I'm going to get this series finished. And yeah, until my final review for the Squid Game, the challenge on Netflix, thank you for watching, and I'll be back for one more episode and also revealing the winner and probably revealing some of my favourites if I can get all of their names and words and pictures. And I'll just go through every single player from 1 to the end and see how many of them I actually really liked as people and as characters. But we'll see. Let me just get the series finished first. But yeah, if you did enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And until my final review, I'll see you then. Thank you very much. Goodbye.